Guys, help me welcome Dana. Yay!
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for joining me.
Of
How
course.
are you?
I'm good.
Oh,
It's been another long day at work. I'm happy to be home and
I
chatting with my
was
traumatized.
about to ask you how was work, but yeah, you just answered that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a long one for me too. Well, not too long, but the ride home, like I was sharing with you before, a bus got stuck in the tunnel, so we had to wait for like over probably it was close to half an hour, a little bit over half an hour.
that's so
So
frustrating.
yeah, we couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. And my bus they don't have bathrooms or nothing,
I
no
hope nobody has
Wi-Fi,
to
no
go.
nothing. So yeah, yeah. So we're just kind of stuck there with our phones or watch a movie or
Mhm,
whatever on the phone. So yeah.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, thanks for popping on. I know this is like an impromptu thing. I know we had chatted about doing this, and I'm glad you were able to do that for me today. So um, we're gonna jump right in. Hopefully, this will be short, juicy, and sweet. But please elaborate wherever you can or whenever you can on any of the questions that I ask.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of new to this, so this as in the interracial thing,
Okay.
dating. I have been thinking about it a lot lately. I know you're a lot younger than I am, so maybe you can give me or give us a few tips on, down the line, on what we should do or shouldn't do or what we should look for. All right. My first question is, I don't know if this is kind of like weird or out of the ordinary for you, but do you identify as a woman of color or Caucasian?
So yes, I do identify as a woman of color. I did. I Tell me a little bit more about the meaning behind that question, just in case other inquiring minds want to know, like what you might mean by the question.
Well, I know some people, they're always in an environment where they're amongst a lot of white folks, a lot of Caucasians. They may have gone to a school, whether it's high school, college, with predominantly white folks. So
Mhm.
sometimes people say, "Oh, you sound so white," or you want to like fit in, or something along that line. I don't know if because you grew up in an area where there's a lot of whites, you
Mhm.
probably would identify as that, or not.
So okay, so that's always kind of been a sticking point for me, even from a very young age. Even when, I'm not originally from Tallahassee, Florida. Or,
Right,
our audience might not know that I was originally born in South Florida,
right,
um, and South Florida is obviously a bigger melting pot than it is
right.
here in North Florida.
Yeah.
So, growing up, I I did get picked on sometimes because of how I spoke. I wouldn't say that I necessarily speak white, but it was always something that came up like, oh, why do you talk like that? Or why do you dress like this? Or why do you do your hair like this? And it's like, I mean, I was raised to speak a certain way. And,
Right.
there are certain things that happened within my household that my mom was very afraid of, me getting into as a result of my brother.
Right.
So I, so to speak, was very sheltered in a lot of ways. And he went one way extreme, and she was determined to not let me go that way. So I went the other way extreme. Now, I wouldn't say that means I identify as white or anything like that. I just think
Okay.
from a younger age, I wasn't always allowed to be as involved in Black American culture
Okay.
as any other, person of color. Well, I don't want to say person of color because that's
Right.
like a broader range. I think we're thinking specifically of African American or
Americans.
Black people right now.
Right.
So, um, I wasn't always exposed to those sorts of things just circumstantially. As I got older, though, obviously going into middle school, high school, college, my friend group expanded. So in college, I actually had a very diverse group of friends. I was friends with white
Mm-hmm.
people, Black people, Hispanic people,
Yeah.
Asian people.
Yeah.
Um, so I wouldn't necessarily say I identify as white. I
Mm-hmm.
think with white American culture, it is something that I grew up identifying more with until I grew
Right.
up and got older. And now I have a better understanding of both cultures. But I always grew up knowing that I myself was Black.
Black.
And
Okay.
that is how I identify.
Okay. Perfect. That's a very good answer.
Yeah.
And thanks for elaborating. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's a
Yes.
very good answer. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So when you first started dating, what race did you first date?
So, my very first long term relationship lasted about 4 years. I was 15 years old in high school, and it was my best friend at the time, and it was a white person. It was a
Okay.
person who was white, yes.
Okay. 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 4 years. That's what did you know at 15? What did you really know at
Yeah, and
15?
but that's the thing too. So it's like like talking about dating and relationships, everybody has flings. And I think,
Right.
romance and, when you hit puberty, you want a boyfriend or you want a girlfriend and
Right.
etc. So um I don't know. I just remember it being just like a very natural thing. Like we
More
had a
more
friendship.
friendly, right? More like a
Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
Because you
became
said your
we were
best friend.
friends, and then we became best friends. And
Right. Okay.
then soon it was like, I don't want to do anything without this person. I don't want to go anywhere without this person. And then before I go to bed, it's like, what is this person doing? So it was just it turned into more of a romance, and it kind of
Right.
lasted.
Right.
It was
Okay.
like last 2 years of high school, first 2 years of college is
Okay.
how
Okay.
it lasted.
Okay.
So yeah.
When you broke up, was it a hard breakup or
Oh,
was it a easy? Was it
it was
mutual?
terrible. It was
It was
terrible.
terrible. Oh
It was
wow. Oh
terrible.
wow.
Not
Okay.
because it wasn't anything that was racially divided. I think because we were just involved so young. By the time we graduate high school and we go into college, you're going to be a very different person. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
15 to like 18, 19, 20, that's a completely different mental mindset. You're
Yeah.
wanting to explore
You
things.
sort of outgrew them. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was difficult
Oh boy.
though.
Are you still friends now? I mean, well, not now, but I mean, are you guys still in touch
We
or
talk here and there.
here
Yeah.
and there? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, I know you probably didn't sit down and decide to go ahead and date outside of your race. So, what kind of
It's
what made
honestly,
you go in that direction?
it's never been something that I focus on. I think it's important to acknowledge the race of somebody else, anybody that you're interacting with. When people say like, I don't see color, or I look at you and I don't see, like, I think it is
Right.
important. I think you should see color. Um, but it's never been, I don't reduce people to their color. So I enjoy people. I enjoy personalities. I went to
Hmm.
school and I studied nothing but people. So I think it's more of like, do I vibe with this person as a friend?
Hmm.
Do I vibe with this person romantically? Um,
Right.
like you said, it's never been like a sorry, one moment, my cat.
Hmm.
um,
Exactly.
but so where were we? Oh yeah, I don't ever look at somebody and say, I don't know if we're gonna get along because they're white, or
Right. Right.
it's never been anything like that.
Okay. Okay.
So it's just an organic type of thing.
Okay. Okay. Got you. Did you get any kind of backlash or was there any kind of like animosity or anything from your friends, outsiders?
It was never like an out. I'm gonna say no generally, but it was never like a direct like, how can you, like, why are you doing that?
Right.
You can't do that. It was just more of like a okay, cool, like that's what you're into. All right,
Hmm.
anyways, and then just kind of like moving on. But it was like there's always like underhanded comments that some people can make sometimes, like, oh, I
Hmm.
can never do that. Like it's just not something that I can do. Or even within like the Black community, right? So like
Hmm.
you do still have Black people who are like, I only like dark skinned guys, or I
Right.
only like light skinned guys. And it's like,
Hmm.
why
Hmm.
can't you? I feel like we do ourselves a disservice when we start reducing people down to the color of their skin. Because, like, what if you have the most magical, wonderful, organic, strong, lovely, supportive connection with somebody, and
Yeah.
you never know because you're not comfortable with the color of their
Or the
skin?
color of the skin.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I get, to each their own, just like, um, some people like chicken, some people don't like chicken, some people like fish, some people don't like fish. I get it. Everybody might have a type or things that they're
Yep.
into, but to answer your question, no, nobody has outright, come
Mm-hmm.
to me and said,
Okay. Okay.
I can't believe that you're dating this person. It's
Right.
no.
Did your family have any sort of objection, or did your mom have was there anything that she
No, and I think too, now that we're talking about it, maybe because I was exposed to interracial dating from a young age, because I remember when we still lived in South Florida, she was dating someone
right
who was white.
who
And
was white?
I
Yeah.
just don't think it's something that I ever thought of as like a taboo subject. Like, even now, like, I'm like, this is still something that people think about, like,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
forget,
mm-hmm.
like, while we're making all of these steps as a society to be more liberal and be more open minded, and, we think that we're this progressive country, there are still a lot of things have that come up.
Yep.
And I mean, I do understand some reasons why, somebody might not want to date outside of their race. Or
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I know that we happen to be talking a lot about like black and white, but it could be black and Asian, or,
Yep.
Hispanic and,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
anything, literally anything else. Um, but she has she's never said anything to
Okay.
me about it.
No,
No.
no, no objection. No,
Mm,
no.
mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
Okay. Oh, well,
mm. Yeah.
that's good. I mean, my son, I know, I don't think he has ever dated a black woman. I think he tried once, but um, I don't think it was a good experience for him. Let's put it that way. Um, he does. I think he does, and I don't think it's intentional, or maybe partial, just probably a little bit.
Mhm,
But he also dates Caucasian women.
mhm,
Um, I remember him having a relationship with a woman. She was a little bit older than he was. And I did meet her. She seemed very nice, but that ended badly. I think they dated for like, I want to say 2 years, just
mhm,
about or so. Yeah, but I think the connections and there were some issues. There were, I think, red flags, and he didn't want that type of drama. He wasn't looking for that type of drama. And for an older woman, not to say she was. I mean, I'm guessing that she was probably a little bit more mature, but at the same
mhm,
time, she was acting also very childish with some things. So
mhm.
um, he, with his thinking, and I think he thinks similarly to you, he just couldn't deal with the drama. So he sort of, that ended. Yeah. Um, but you mentioned your mom dating a white guy. I
Mhm.
don't remember how long she did, but if it was for like a year or two, or I don't remember how long it was. For me, I've never, and I think when I was your age, I used to think about doing it, but in the back of my head was always one of my friends or somebody's gonna say, "Oh, what y'all do with him? Oh, what y'all do with the white man?" Like,
Mhm.
I know, I think well, I felt like I was gonna hear that, or not feel like I could bring him around them, or so I kind of like just stayed away from it.
Yeah.
So now that I'm older and a little bit wiser, I think, I don't know, I've been eyeing a lot of these, Caucasian guys. I've been seeing a lot of them on, like, TikTok and, some
Mhm.
Instagram and stuff like that. So I haven't been on any sites. I haven't been on any kind of site to seek any out. I figure if I'm going to meet one, I should just meet him kind of like naturally, like in my environment, like
Yeah.
whether going to the store, or I'm at a restaurant, or, something kind of like just, so yeah, I think I'm open to it now. I think I'm also at the point where I don't give a rat's what anybody wants to say. Actually, it's
Yeah.
my life, and yeah. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, good for you. Good for you. Good for you from starting early. I didn't have the braves in me that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't. Yeah, I didn't go for it. I did not go for it. But yeah. So, but yeah, you said your mom didn't have any objection or anything. So good. That's good. That was good. Have you dated any black guys?
Yeah.
You have.
Um, so after the first relationship that we talked about previously that lasted 4 years and some change, I dated somebody who was black. He was somebody that I worked with, and we dated, I want to say for about a year or maybe just over a year.
Okay.
Um, but and it was a good relationship. There was nothing that happened per
Mm-hmm.
se. Um, I think I just wasn't ready to be with somebody else because there just wasn't that much of a lapse between my breakup and then getting involved with somebody else. Like it's not like years had gone by. It was
Right.
less than a year had gone by, and
You
uh,
needed more time.
I needed more time. He was a partier, and I was like, this is a great distraction going to all these parties,
Right.
and then
Right.
we would always hang out at the party, and then we'd go to work and talk about the party and talk about hanging out, and then we would hang
Right.
after that, and then it was just like, this is great. Like we have a good friendship going, and
Mm-hmm.
one thing led to another, and we just found ourselves in a relationship. But I just, like you said, I really wasn't ready. I was not ready. Um, and then I was single for some time after that, and I dated another guy who was black, and that didn't work out just because he was a pervert. Like 110%. Like that was just the most disgusting experience of my entire
Oh my
life.
God. Oh
Nothing to
no.
do with culture or race or
Right.
anything
Right.
like that. That was purely like
His personality sucked, basically. Then.
it was disgusting.
Oh God.
It was disgusting.
Ouch.
Like, am I allowed to share a story about it?
You can share. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
As
so
long as you don't name names.
I'm not putting any names out there. No.
Okay. That's fine.
It was like his phone had broken, and he didn't have a way to communicate with people while his new phone was being shipped or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had given him my iPad to
Okay.
use, and it had like Messenger and like all the stuff on there, so he could still like message people, etc. Blah blah blah.
Right.
Okay, well, he gets his new phone. He gives me my iPad back. He's still logged into all his stuff. I didn't know, and I'm not the type to go snooping for things. I don't
Right.
try to catch people in lies. Like,
Right.
I genuinely thought it was all my things still logged in. So I opened up Messenger, and he had messaged, I think in the week that he had my iPad, he, woman after woman after woman after woman after woman after woman, the most perverse things, like trying to hook up with people. One of the women was like, oh, like I have to go drop my kid off with her grandma, and but then we can meet up or whatever. And it's like, I like the
Wow.
cheating like wasn't even like registering because I was so disgusted by the
With
things that
what?
were being
Yes.
said
Oh my
in
God.
in the messages. And like he was sending pictures, and people were sending him pictures, and I'm like, you're really using my
Jesus.
property for this stuff. Like I didn't even want to touch the iPad. I was like, I need to disinfect. And it was just like an immediate breakup. Like I remember calling him, and I was like, we're done. Like we can't do this anymore.
Right.
Like
Right. Right.
it's
Oh, I'm sure he didn't mind. I'm sure he didn't give you a fight.
he was very upset. He was very devastated. Yeah. And then I want to say maybe like a year or two later, he messaged me apologizing. And then a couple weeks after the apology, he saw me out in public, and he was like, Dana, come here. Let's talk. But I was like, I don't want to talk to you. Bye. You're gross.
But he waited a year or two later to apologize.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was a good bit of time before
before he did. Wow.
and I was like, this, I don't know.
He's
But
a a-hole for sure. For sure. Oh my God.
yeah.
Your stuff. And he's doing all of these things on.
Yeah,
Ay,
it
ay,
was
ay.
disgusting. And then after that, I stopped dating for a little bit because I was traumatized. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try the dating apps. I'm going to try Bumble. I'm going to try Tinder or, whatever else was out there. And
Hmm.
um, I dated, but I wouldn't say that I was in relationships with people, but I
Right.
dated like a whole like array of different people. Like,
People.
yeah, it wasn't black or white. It was, I was dating a lot of different kinds of people,
Okay.
just going out on dates.
Right. That's
Uh,
fair. I mean, that's good. That's how you weed them out. That's how you
yeah.
kind of get
Yeah.
to what you want, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have like sort of like a checklist or anything? Did you have a
So when I was younger, I didn't really know what I wanted in a relationship.
Mhm.
And, after you have your first real love, you're constantly trying to find that again. And then
Right.
through trying to find that again, you're like, okay, your first love is special. Like you're not always going to
Right. You're not gonna, yeah.
So I was constantly trying to compare everyone that I dated to that person or that relationship, and does it feel the same? And it's just never going to feel the same as your first time. It's just not going to.
True.
Um, I did not have a checklist at the time, but I think going through all of that, it taught me what I valued in people or in a relationship versus what I didn't. Um, and I think that's helped me a lot.
That helped.
Hmm.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right though. That first love is, yeah. You will
Yeah,
never get that back,
yeah.
and nobody else will have that same. Like if you watched my not my previous video, the one before that where I talked about my long distance relationship, like
Mhm.
I know his love was, or I think it still is, if I might, proudly say that, is like just really unconditional. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I think if I were to say, yeah, I'm ready again, like let's do it again, I think he would be like, yeah, come on, like let's give it another go. I
yeah,
think, it's like that. But um we when we did get back together that second time, um I think he was holding on to like the or past when we were younger. I think he
mhm,
was holding on to stuff. We grew, like you said, we grew up, we matured, or thinking had changed, our lifestyles. We never had, we don't have the same life, he and I, pretty much. So it's a lot to really, say, compared to,
yeah,
the next person. But
yeah,
yeah, he was definitely holding on to, I think, our younger years, which at times I used to tell him that he can't do that, basically grow up. We're grown now, we're adults, we have to do this
yeah.
thing called life. We have to do it. So yeah. But yeah, I got you. I get what you're saying. So yeah, so after that you never dated another person of color, well, black person.
Not in a long-term relationship. No.
Okay.
Like I said, I was doing the dating
Just
like
dating.
different
Okay.
people, and um so after that it just gets old being on the dating apps. Like you have to think, so I live in Tallahasse, Florida, and for those of you who don't know, um it's a college town. Like we've got
Right.
FAMU here, we've got FSU here, we have TCC
Right.
here, the community college. Um, so there's just a lot of students, and when you're just constantly dating like young person after young person after young person, and the FSU is a party school, like as great of a school as it
Ah,
is, it's known as a party school. So you're just around people who are not really, and I'm not trying to make a general statement. I hope nobody's
right.
offended by what I'm saying, but it's harder to come across people who are in a more mature mindset and are
Ready.
looking
Right. More
for,
ready.
who
Mm-hmm.
are ready for um, a more serious
More
relationship,
serious
something
relationship.
that can
Right.
help you grow
Right.
and things like that. So I did kind of take a beat because it was either like I would meet up with somebody from Bumble and like no matter how many times we talked about it in text and like saying, I'm not trying to move too fast and I'm just
Right.
trying to look for friends and blah blah blah. It was like as soon as we hung out in person, it's like, so you want to come back to my place? Or like you want to like watch some Netflix at my house, and it's like, didn't we just talk
Just.
about like, was that just like for show? Like, I so like that kind of situation got really old.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I just need to stop looking. Like, maybe it's true what people say. Love finds you when you least expect it,
Goodness.
and it just happens.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's kind of what ended up happening. So
Ah,
yeah.
nice. Um, when you were on the apps, though not you mentioned the apps because I was going to ask you about that.
Mhm, mhm.
Did you put like, how they ask, what are you looking for? Did you put white or you didn't put anything really? Like just you checked all the boxes.
I literally was just like looking for somebody that I can grow with and who can challenge me, looking for
Mhm.
somebody who has the same interests as me.
Right.
I mean, you have to think at this time I'm like 22, 23. I'm like, yeah, music is really important to me. And like going to live festivals, like that's really
Right.
important to
Right.
me. Like you have to love these things. And
Right.
it was more so things like that. Like I never did anything in terms of like race. No.
Okay. 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 Cool. 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 Did you find that there was, I know you only dated probably like maybe two black guys, but did you see any significance in dating a white as opposed to a black guy? Was there any kind of difference that you came across? Too loud, too this, too
Not
like too friendly, just like knows everybody type of thing. No,
not really.
touchy feely.
Not really. No.
Okay.
I think if I had to like really dig and like try and pick for something, I think my experiences with men of color were more um it was just more grounded in like black American culture. So if we want to circle back to the same thing that I brought up earlier in our talk together, it was like had I not had the experience that I had or experiences that I had in middle school and college,
Mm-hmm.
diversifying my friend groups and like really like being like, okay, mom, like I promise, like
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay. Like I'm not going out to like join a gang and like do
Mm-hmm.
anything
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like it's gonna be fine.
Okay.
If I didn't test those limits, I wouldn't know
Right.
anything. Like,
Right.
and growing up in a Jamaican household is not quite the same as growing up in Black American culture. It's
Yeah.
just not, just because our
Yeah.
skin is also dark. The cultures are just vastly different. So that's what I knew. But yeah, it was more of just like a sense of family and like togetherness and, digging into your roots culturally and like figuring out like talking about history, talking about like social matters. And while I do think those are important, I don't like for those things to dominate the conversation all the time,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that there's more to life than just focusing on, one specific subset of
Yeah.
issues. Like there are a lot of issues that need attention, like not just
Yes. Yes.
and you can't always just focus on the things that pertain to you. So but I mean, like I said, that's if I have to like really like dig for something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but you also have to think too, like this time that I'm dating around and doing all this stuff, like we're on the brink of like George Floyd and like Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. So it was natural for those things to come up more frequently with, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a black man
Right.
than a white man, or any other person of race.
Okay. Okay. So, are you dating now?
I am dating now.
Look at her face. She lit up.
Yeah.
Ooh. And who is this person? Like, are they black? Are they white? Are they Asian?
He is white.
He's white.
He is the brother of a very good friend of mine, best friend.
Okay.
I met my friend through work, and she had invited me over for Thanksgiving one year because I was here by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I had gotten there like later at night, and I remember her brother being there. And I mean, I didn't think anything of it at that time. Like, I was just like, okay, he's here. He was somewhat flirtatious, but he was also very, very drunk. So I was like, I'm just not going to read too much into this. It's
Right.
Thanksgiving. We're just going to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I didn't see him again for another year. I
Oh.
didn't see him again for a year. And it was at his sister's baby shower. His sister
Mm.
gotten pregnant, by she and her husband were expecting. and
Mm-hmm.
we saw each other at the baby shower,
Mm.
and we just like, I felt more of a connection there. Like we
Oh,
were
okay.
talking, there was a vibe going, like we're making eyes at each other across the room. And
So you were flirting back also, huh?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it was, I remember leaving and going home and thinking like, and I was dating somebody else at this time, mind you. I was dating someone
Mm.
who was very toxic to me. And I remember going home and thinking like, I just want to hang out with him more. And like as the weeks went on, I was like, I just like, I wonder what he's up to. He doesn't live here. He lives in Panama City. But so I ended up ditching the baby shower. Like I dipped out because I started feeling not so great. So I was like, I gotta
Okay.
go. And I didn't say bye.
Oh,
And mind you, this is my first time seeing him after a year. We had no communication, none. Like
right.
we were friends
Right.
on social media, but we didn't talk. Like
Mm-hmm.
he was like, oh, I'll like this status update or I'll like this post.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward to the baby shower a year later, I dipped out and he randomly messaged me on social media and was like,
Oh,
oh, you left without saying goodbye. You know how they do, like, oh, I was hoping you'd say bye. And I was like, all
oh,
right,
so sweet.
I was reading the room correctly. Like, he's into me. Obviously, if he's messaging me
Nice.
now for the first time after a year. Um, and then I want to say I saw him again a couple months after that. So that was March. And then June, the same friend, her husband was celebrating his birthday. We went out to the river. We went on a kayaking trip,
Mm-hmm.
and her brother went. And after that, the rest was history. Like that's the same day that we're like, I like you, and I like you too. And
That's
it
so
was so
sweet.
stupid.
That's so
And we
sweet.
pretty much talked every single day after that,
Oh,
and
wow.
we've been together for it was a year in June of
Nice, nice.
yeah.
Amazing. So, can we expect, well, I know it's a little too early, but are you guys like talking like really, really long term, like maybe a
Yeah.
wedding, I don't know, maybe kids or more kids, more animal kids or something, you know?
Um, we've definitely talked about like at least moving in together, I
Oh,
would say,
nice.
because he doesn't live here again. He
Right,
lives in
right,
Panama. So it's been conversations of like, do you want to move here? Like, am I moving there? And at this point, it's just more of like a, if the opportunity arises career wise, like, then we'll have
right.
to like figure something out. Like, I don't want to move to Panama City. I don't know if you've been to Panama City.
Oh,
I don't want to move there, but I mean,
oh,
it's like if we get a job opportunity where we can make more and it brings us away from where we're currently at, then
right.
that's kind of worth the discussion of like, okay,
Okay,
what are we gonna do? But as of right now, like he's making good money where he's at, I'm making good money where I'm at, and I I've never been the type of person to leave and be with just for the sake of being
just
with.
for, yeah, yeah, got you.
Um,
I got you. I got
so
you.
that's kind of where we're at. But we've talked about it, and yes, we want more pets. I already have the cat, and he wants a dog, so we'll have a cat and a dog at least at some
Okay,
point.
okay, okay.
Yeah, it's
What
all.
national is he an American? Is he mixed? Is
He's
he
he's American, and he has German roots.
roots? Okay, okay. Does he like that you have that Jamaican roots? Does he
Yeah.
does he does he like, okay, he likes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, that's sweet. That's sweet. Okay, okay. So I guess you hadn't had I'm not gonna say experience, but this will be probably this, if this lasts for a long time, this will probably be your second longest relationship,
Hmm.
basically. Okay, so the others are kind of like dating, kind of having fun, kind of
Yeah,
nothing really serious.
yeah, yeah.
So if anything, knock on wood, if I mean, not that I'm praying that happens, but if this doesn't work out, this would probably be the one that's going to teach you or give you some lessons to, for the next relationship, basically.
Honestly, I'm gonna say the one before this one taught me a lot because
Okay.
I dated that person for pretty much a year as well, and
Okay.
that taught me a lot about boundaries and self-respect and just having a better sense of self-worth. Like, just because you're with somebody doesn't mean that you have to neglect yourself, or you have to put yourself on the back burner because their needs are more important than yours. It definitely taught me that it's a balancing act. Like, your needs are just as important as your partner's, and you can't keep making excuses for the red flags. Like, you can't keep wishing away all of the red flag behaviors.
Are you talking to me? Are you talking about me? No, I mean for
No, but
real.
I
I
have
know
done
I can
some.
exactly.
I watched the your last video, and
Yeah,
I remember messaging you like, Auntie, like, that was a really good message, because I think a lot of us want
yeah,
something so badly that we just, you know, and I was honestly in a situation where I never thought I would be in. Like, I was like, if it was my friend, I would be like, couldn't be me.
yeah.
Like, couldn't be me. I would have left a long time ago. But
Yeah.
it,
I like the things that you learned, because I think I've learned those myself, and I didn't think I'd be going through something like that at 50. I didn't think
yeah,
I'd be going through that.
yeah,
I did say at 50, not to cut you off, but at 50, I said, oh, I should at least have a ring on my finger, not
yeah,
married, but maybe engaged, at least heading down, that path.
yeah,
And when you basically give your life to somebody else just to see them try to either be better, get ahead, or do better or something, or to try to teach them, like, okay, that's why I said, are you talking to me? Because I was getting teary eyed when you started talking, because I
yeah.
was definitely there, right where you were talking about. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
was it was it was yeah, it was just getting to a point where they're just clear as day, like, you need to leave this person. Like,
yeah.
there should never be a time, and I'm talking to anybody who might be watching this, like,
Yep.
you think that you could never find yourself in a relationship where somebody's verbally abusing you or mentally abusing you. Thank God it was never physical for me, but it
Right.
was definitely a lot of verbal abuse and mental abuse, like gaslighting me and making me second guess myself.
Yep.
There is never an excuse for it. I don't care how stressed the person is. I don't care if there was a death in the family, like, what sort of, even if you know for a fact, if we're going to go into the realm of like mental health, and we're saying like, oh, they're just bipolar, or
Yeah.
they have depression, or
Yeah.
they just XY, it doesn't matter,
They had a
because
bad childhood. Yeah. Yeah.
at a certain point, even if they acknowledge that they have it, acknowledging is just the first step. Like, you have to do something
Do
about it.
something about it. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to
Exactly.
learn how to grow out of your trauma. You have to grow out of your dysfunction. You can't just be comfortable in it.
Yep.
And you have a responsibility as an individual to realize how your actions and your behaviors are affecting other people, and
People.
the person that is supposed to be your partner in life.
Exactly. Exactly. I like
So
that.
that's what that relationship taught me. Like, just when you think it can never be you, it can always be you.
Yep.
Because
That's true.
nobody's exempt.
That's true. That's true. Well, that, what you just said, is a part of, I think, great advice. Um, do you have anything else that you want to add to that? Because I want to ask you what you think also when you're done with that advice section. What can I do? Or where can I go to probably meet, if I want to say, let's say I want to meet a Caucasian guy? Where
Mhm.
can I go? What's the best place to go? What things can I do to kind of, like, I don't know, not draw their attention, but just kind of like, bring the vibe, bring the energy, bring the goodness to me. What can I do?
So, no, I don't think I have anything else to add on to what I said. It's
What you
just
just said.
more,
Okay.
um, knowing your value, knowing your worth, knowing what you bring to the table,
Okay.
knowing and learning what your triggers are. Like, if somebody is constantly triggering you and you find
Mm-hmm.
yourself saying it's okay, like, it's just a bad day,
Mm-hmm.
or, it'll pass because they're just going through this, and
Mm-hmm.
that is never okay. And it is
Yeah.
only going to get worse because all you're doing is showing that person that the way that they're talking to you or the way that they're treating you is okay. And
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to keep explaining it away. You're just going to keep
Okay.
making excuses and things like that. So, creating boundaries for yourself, knowing yourself, and not being afraid to say them out loud.
Yeah.
Let your intentions be known. Um, not just for yourself, but for the person that you're dating too. Even if it's not
Right.
a toxic relationship, even if it's as healthy as can be,
Right.
like you need those boundaries. Like you
Yeah.
have to communicate. Um, but yeah, that's all I would say about that.
Okay.
Now, for your next question, in terms of like what can you do and where can you go, I don't know. I don't have any advice for that part. I mean, you live in a much larger populated area than I do,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I mean, I would imagine you find a whole slew of different races and ethnicities and things like that, no matter where you go, especially in the city and things. New York is a melting pot. So,
It is, but you know what I find too? I think the ones that I see, they're probably married, or I've seen that they're married. Number one, number two, the other guys that probably I would probably maybe consider dating. New York is a place where like you hit them and run. So some of them are not basically looking for a relationship, so to speak. They're looking to have like a good
okay,
time, have fun, kind of that type of thing. The ones that really they're pretty much settled, or are looking to settle, they're either out this way, but then it's to get to the different places. Like I'm in Jersey, I work in New York, so it's either I go to some kind of, I don't know, park, some maybe a concert or something, to probably find,
that's a better idea.
yeah,
I would say
somebody.
live music,
Right.
outdoorsy things, like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
being in nature more, or like finding groups that, you can do like a hiking group, or, like you like being by bodies of water. I don't know if you would ever go kayaking or if there's a place
I
for you
want
to
to try.
do
I
that.
actually do want to try. I
But,
want to do that.
I find it something that I really enjoy. I think just being more involved in group activities or like things where things are happening in the moment, like live music, concert shows, not just Broadway shows, but
Right.
places where you have the opportunity to speak to somebody, bars even.
Girl,
Um,
I ain't gonna find none at the Broadway show, okay? I'm not gonna find
yeah.
none. Okay.
But just and just within yourself, just and I think you're kind of already there, but just not letting any sort of stigma or mental barrier get to you, because at the end of the day, we're not dating a color, we're dating a person.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what you have to just remember. Like, you are looking for authenticity, you are looking for somebody that you can connect with and
Right.
you get along with at the end of the day. It
Right.
doesn't have to be. I think we try to look for the super magical connection sometimes, or the stars have to be aligned and you have to feel giddy right away, and that's just not
Right.
always the case. And
Right.
like you said, you are older, and I think the
Yep.
older you get, the less those things are important, and
Yep.
the more you start to look for things where it's just like, all right, can I have a conversation with you without you snapping at me? Like, can we talk about like
Right.
hot issues, like even so circling back to the last relationship that I was talking about, the toxic one, like we
Mm-hmm.
were talking about Black Lives Matter, and that was one of the situations where they were just like, I don't see color, I don't see color, and I just kept saying, like, what you're saying is not what you mean. Like, you see
Right.
color, but you don't let it be the basis of whether or not
Right.
you
Right.
talk to somebody. Like, you should
Right.
should matter to you that I'm a
It
person of
should.
color
Yeah.
and you are not. Like, you
Yeah.
should think about that when you take me certain places. And the way that I interact with the world and the world interact with me has a lot to do with the color of my skin. Can you have conversations like that with somebody, because it didn't go over well with that my last
Right.
part.
Right.
um, and just basic human decency. Like, can
Yeah.
I be around you and just enjoy myself and have a good time?
Right. Right.
That's it. But definitely don't stress it. Like, I think
No.
it's like I said, like, it happens when you literally
Li-
least expect it.
Yeah.
Because I was not looking for anything.
Yeah.
at all. And it
Right.
just kind of happened. Like I said, we went a whole year without seeing or talking to each other.
Right.
And randomly out of the blue, it was like, hey, I like you. So, um,
She got cuter over the year.
must have. But
No, well, that's
you know,
good.
just go out there and be involved in stuff.
Just go for it. That's what you're telling me, basically.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
okay. Should one of the, I guess, in one of our probably maybe the first three dates, let's just say, should I bring up, or should the subject or a topic, one of the discussions that we have, be about basically Black Lives Matter? That subject, should that come up? You think, should I bring that into?
I feel like that's a very heavy hitting subject.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily think it's something that you should make an
But
agenda
at the same
about.
time, I don't want to wait for something to happen when, okay,
No,
then they
I
don't
don't.
have my back, or they're not, speaking up, or they're not speaking out, or they're, you know what I mean?
I mean, I wouldn't like interrogate the person and be like, "So, what do you think about Black Lives Matter?"
No, no,
But
I mean, gradually. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
just kind of like, maybe just like a tip of the, just like a tip of the iceberg, just kind of maybe touch it a little bit or something, how they feel about something like
I,
that.
I,
If
I wouldn't put a time limit on it. I think it's something that needs to happen sooner rather than later.
right,
Just very similarly, in the same way, like I wouldn't wait until I have a ring on my finger to just like tell my partner, like, "Hey, actually, I don't want kids. Do you want kids?" Like that's not something that you wait to talk about. Um, but and it doesn't even necessarily have to be Black Lives Matter. It could be
right.
anything that's happening in the area
True.
currently.
It could be
Like,
religion.
yeah, just just talk about
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
and just be like, what are your thoughts on it? Like, who
Okay.
do you, or ask them, like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, do you, and just create a conversation about it. But I wouldn't be like, okay, it's date number 3 and I'm asking about Black
No,
Lives
I know. I
Matter.
had just said that.
Okay, okay,
I didn't
okay,
mean like on date 3, I'm
okay,
going to say that.
okay.
I was just saying, like, maybe, through, the course of whatever.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
at least touch on it just for, a little bit, just mention something,
yeah.
in that line of, and see if, probably get their reaction. Maybe not the discussion,
I
but
would
probably
say
get
within
their
the first
reaction.
few months. Like
Right.
if you're talking within the first few months before you get to like 6 months and you're super far into it and you've really caught like serious feelings,
Right.
like obviously you want to know where they stand on hard hitting issues. That's important. But chances are, I mean, I don't even want to say that because that's not necessarily true. That's not
Mhm.
true. I was going to say chances are like if you're going on dates with them and they're interested in you and they really like you, like it's probably not their first rodeo with somebody outside of their race. Um, and
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not a
obviously,
fetish either, or some type of
but
fantasy.
that's what I was going to say
So
too.
yeah,
Some
so
people
I have
are,
to be careful about that too.
yeah, because there are some non people of color or white
Yep.
people or, whatever who
Yep.
try so hard to be an ally that they completely miss the point.
Right.
And they're like, I love black people. Like black people are great. Like, what do you mean I'm racist? My girlfriend is black. Like
Exactly.
things
Exactly.
like that
Yep.
could could potentially come up. In my experience, it hasn't really. There was
Okay.
only one time that came up, and it wasn't even with somebody that I was dating. It was like a mutual friend, and I was like, "You have got to stop." Like, I
Wow.
understand what you're trying to say, but I'm very
Wow.
uncomfortable. But
No,
yeah, I mean,
it's definitely appealing to me more and more every
yeah,
day. To kind of touch on that, outside my race. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely appealing
I
to me
think you
for
should
sure.
go for it, and you don't necessarily have to seek it out.
No, I'm not.
But I think and I know you love doing different things, you love new experiences, you love to travel. Like, who
Yeah.
knows? You could be on vacation and you find somebody in Spain, or where's your next vacation? Because I know one is coming up soon.
I'll be visiting Prague, Vienna, and Budapest.
You may find somebody in Budapest.
And one of
And
them,
next
right?
thing
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you're messaging us and you're saying, look at my new boo in Budapest.
I probably
And
said, I'm moving, you guys.
so, just be
Yeah, no.
open to any sort of connections that you feel with people. I think I'm very intuitive with my romantic side. And, if I'm out and somebody even is like an inkling of flirting with me, like I enjoy flirting, like it's
Right.
fun. So, you know, just
Me too. Me too.
ride that wave and see where that goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like your best bet of introducing like different races into your
Right.
life.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought up some really good points. Um, Shoot, let me see what other subject we can talk about next time. Um, but yeah, no, no, no. Those are very good advice, very good tips. And yeah, I'm trying to be intentional about that. I'm not rushing. I am still on my I'm still healing,
Okay.
but I'm finding myself. I'm finding my footing, so I'm not rushing into anything. I think when it happens, I will know. I think when something or someone comes my way, I definitely think I'll know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'll just be a little bit more cautious. I think less. I don't even think I was rushing before, but yeah, just take it a little bit slower than I did. But yeah, this was enlightening. This was fun. And
Good.
like I said, I know that we're not in the same age group, but at the same time, you definitely brought across some really good tips. And I hope my listeners will, if they're ever considering dating a white guy, they will
Yeah.
take those tips and run with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for that. And by the way, guys, I didn't say it before, and I wanted to wait until the end. She is my niece.
Yeah.
She's my niece.
I think I may have
I guess
said
you all
something
figured
about
that
that
out already because
earlier.
we talked about mom and mom's
Yeah.
boyfriend,
Yeah.
ex, longtime lover. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure you figured that we were related at some point in the show.
Yeah.
But I thank you for coming on. I know you had a long day, and I kind of make you stay up, probably past your bedtime by now. But
It is past my bedtime, but it's okay because I'm having a great time. So
good, good. So we'll definitely do it again.
yeah.
Just definitely, we'll find something else to really dig our feet into. But I did like this, and I guess I don't know. We'll find something. We'll definitely find something.
Yeah.
But thanks for sharing that, and
Thank you for having me.
wish you all the best in your new relationship. And I hope you guys will be together for a very, very long time.
Thank you. Me too.
Thank you, darling. Have a good night and rest well.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.